Hello good people and welcome back. Now before the hyper-tactical super GMs of our time like the Alarezas or the Hikarus, there was this beast from Baku, the previous generation's GOAT, Garry Kasparov. His tactical ideas are pure magic to behold, and to be on the receiving end of them leaves you in complete and utter disbelief. I would like to show you a game that Garry played when he was only 13 years old. It's white to move here. Bishop takes on d4 and Garry places the rook on e8 now with this idea of a semi-open file. Garry's always a move forward kind of guy. Bishop to e2. Here Garry plays c5. Of course the idea is to sacrifice and open the file there. The opponent obliges well and takes. And now there is a move that Garry plays here that Stockfish approves as a 13-year-old and as a tactical monster. What did Garry play here? The answer, of course, in the video. Let's boost our ELO. Let's get it.
Round one, fight!
So this game took place in 1976 in Tbilisi. And Garry plays as black here against Gariganovic Elpushian. I really butchered the name, I'm really sorry. And before I begin, before I forget, if you do find this content helpful, tolerable, and it's helping in your chess journey, please leave a like and sub. You have my gratitude. Let's get started. White starts with d4, knight to f6, the Indian defense by Garry, c4, g6, knight to c3, bishop to g7, e4, and d6. One of Bobby Fischer's favorite weapons. Of course, Bobby in attack mode, defense and attack mode would play this against d4. Opponent plays f3, the samish. Knight to c6, inviting the push here. The opponent doesn't oblige, but just in case the opponent did, then the idea is knight to e5. Garry likes to move forward, but has, of course, a plan. And after, say, f4, knight e to d7, the center looks like it belongs to white, but everything else is underdeveloped. And black is ready to castle and hit the center from all sorts of directions. So the opponent decides to play a bishop to e3, a6, queen to d2, are we castling queen? Rook to b8. Garry's idea of the Luft, of course, or of the push, is to break open this file. The ideas of tactical or dynamic players is to free up the center, central tension, but also open the position. An open position allows for countless calculation, and it's actually hard if you're not comfortable with some level of chaos. Rook to b1, so the idea is nixed. And now we have castle king b4. Garry's opponent, who I assume is also a teenager, challenges him. The idea is to push here and take over some territory. Garry hits the center, d5, and he plays knight to d4. It looks like he's given up a free pawn, but that is part of this variation, and it is not a free pawn. Like I mentioned, the king is still in the middle, so if you take it, that is a questionable move. E takes d, queen takes d, and knight to e4. Knight to e4 is a good move. And you're wondering, that's a free knight. But then you notice this isn't so free. And if you move out of the way there, you're being attacked twice. So yeah, if you take here, you get zapped. If you do nothing, well then this disappears and your king gets blasted to smithereens. Yes, I used those terminology. Knight to d4, now knight to e2. c5. Garry strengthens a stronghold on d4. So d takes on c4 en passant. And usually if you were the strategic type, you would take here. The idea being that you preserve your knight, but also now you have a stranglehold on d4. But Garry moves forward. Garry's idea is, of course, tactical. His strategy is based on the possibility of opening the position, and most attacking players prefer this thing called piece mobility, which you probably heard if you followed AlphaZero's games. Knight takes on d4, e takes on d4, bishop takes. So, Garry looks like he's down a pawn, but, like I said, he'd rather give up material, aka a pawn, if he can have a semi-open file, mobility. And guess what? This bishop hasn't moved yet, and the king is still kind of in the middle. Well, not kind of. The king is definitely in the middle, as you can see. So bishop to e2. And here, Garry starts with what we saw in the opening position, c5. And for you hyper-tactical players there, not only do you probably have to remember the variations of your opening, also the ideas that players like Alekhine, like Aliakin, like Tal, like Fischer, and like Garry they're valuable ideas. Because now he opens up this file. And does the opponent bite? Does the opponent move back? What does the opponent do? Well, if you move back, then you're just down a pawn there, and then you relinquish a light squared or a dark squared diagonal. The opponent takes. And here Garry buys himself a tempo. A very strong tempo in the form of a brilliant move. Can you find that move? The answer in 3, 2, and 1. Garry destroys the wall in front of him by sacrificing the knight. And the thing about this move is, well, the opponent took, because they want to see what Garry has in store. But now the next move is pure calculated tactics. Queen to h4, g3, rook takes. This is the only defender of that. And the opponent doesn't bite and plays king to f2 because the light squares are weak, the rook is attacking, the only thing defending this bishop is the queen. So if you, by perchance, takes that, that's a blunder and a half, because now queen 2 enters the picture with idea of a hit here, idea of this intermezzo, and then this pin where your king no longer has castle. Everything just explodes. So you try to defend, per se, you don't take here, you delay. Bishop, keeping this in check. Why? Because after rook to f1, bishop to g4 attacks that multiple times. And you might be wondering, and I don't know if Garry can see this because this is some 3000 level ELO tactics. Rook to f4, now you check. King can't go here, king has to exit one way. This is the idea, of course. And queen to b7 is brilliant, beyond brilliant. In this position, you're offering this up, but this gets chowed down. But if the opponent gets greedy with this move, and this is why tactics is so difficult, because you've got to calculate all these lines. Queen to b4 means it's mate in 1, 2. So don't take that rook. That rook is poisoned because you're way behind in tempo. So he didn't take the rook, he went king to f2. But then now he offers his queen trade. You take, I take your queen, you take my queen. Well, we have this intermezzo. Very powerful stuff of capture, of course. So try and reduce the tension. Rook takes, bishop takes, king 2, and now hitting the rook. Rook to c2, and now king to d3. Now you might be thinking, let's preserve the rook, keep the material, but you have to take note that then white has c takes on d, and after f5, you have to contend with two things rushing to your court there. So Garry plays the strong move, rook takes on c3, and then just stops and douses the fire that is a 3-pawn phalanx. Bishop 2, bishop to b7, and Garry now plays strategically. Okay? He switched from tactics. He, of course, is of a master caliber at this age. So now the pin takes. The idea now is to queen this pawn. So if takes, push again. It's hard to get there. So bishop to f1, bishop to f5, clearing this. Ideas here. And now check. King goes up. You push. What to do, what to do. This does block it. So, bishop to g4. If you take, turns into a queen. Maintains the tension. Maintains the defense. Tries to get here. But then now Garry just moves it up to e1, rook 2. And now Garry blocks with bishop to f5. Ideas, ideas. a5. Trying to counter, but it's just too slow. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. This is ready to queen. Takes. And now offering of a trade. And if you refuse, then things fall apart and your opponent is up a whole darn bishop. So, what Garry tries to teach tactical would like to be players is open the files, move forward, and create initiative by this thing called piece mobility. Hope you guys got something out of that. That's 13-year-old Garry Kasparov. So yeah, I feel untalented, but there's a lot of things to learn from that. I hope you guys got something out of it. I'll see you guys later. Double peace.